Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, and it is April 6th, 2023. Here we go once again. Schedule's going to be thrown off a little bit this week because of Easter Sunday. We are out at Jordan Creek Thursday, which is today, tomorrow, and Saturday. And we will be closed on Sunday, both out at Jordan Creek and at the Altoona store. And we will try to sleep in. Try is the key word there because of Rusty Kravitz, who's in the window there. His new thing now is to wake me up at 4 in the morning and 5 in the morning and 6 in the morning. And he's only going to get one treat. I got him to hold off at the 4 o'clock call. But then at 5 o'clock, I did get up and give him his treat. And then my alarm goes off in the 6 o'clock hour, and he wants another one. He's not getting another one. He's only getting one treat per day. Well, his moist food. He gets a treat at night from mommy. I let mommy handle his nightly treat. Does he not wake Becky up? Becky's a lighter sleeper, so she usually wakes up too. But he's more focused on me because I'm the one who gives him his wet cat food. And he's very persistent. We talked about this. He's very persistent. Like I said, it's kind of funny how we were talking about persistency in the Bible. Mr. Persistent right there. Look at that. Rusty Kravitz. He's on his neighborhood watch program right now, so I'm trying not to bother him. Becky doesn't like when I raise my voice to him, but I don't like it when he wakes me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Anyway, good morning, Bible Blues Brother Scott. How are you doing this fine morning? And again, a reminder, prayers to Kathy for safe travels and her mom, Mercy procedures going on. Let's make sure that we keep her. And for that matter, we just need to keep each other in prayer because there's always things going on. There are some shared experiences that we're going through right now with the state of this nation. And we have our own individualized experiences that we're going through. We will go through trials and tribulations as we continue to live away from home because we realize that we are away from home. We are not truly home. We will be home one day. But for now, trials and tribulations. But we do not have to go through it alone. We have God the Father to help it lead and guide and comfort us, give us rest when we need it, and we have each other. All right, let's get into the message for today. Smile, have joy in this new day. You're awakened in God's love and grace and the blessings of this new day. Be filled with God's love and grace to take out and share with the world around us and giving thanks for all the blessings He provides us. We each can reach out and help others in their challenges and struggles in their lives. Be loving in life, and we will never want for love. Let our lives be about love, realizing love is the absence of judgment. Each of us will face opposition from others during our journey. We can face opposition with love and forgiveness. We each can live life with God as our companion, trusting in Him in His healing power and strength. We each need to spend time to spot check our own anxiety and personal restlessness. We will discover some as long as we are aware of it. We need not surrender to let it to it. No, we need not surrender to it. Let God help us through it. Life will provide us a wide range of emotional happenings. They'll include pain and sorrow, as well as peace, joy, and happiness. Sometimes these feelings will intermix and we can have peace, sorrow, sadness, and joy all at the same time. Trust in God's plan for us. Let these emotional experiences be a learning process, helping us to grow closer to God and to strengthen our relationship with Him. Life provides us with a beautiful opportunity to love others and love and trust in God and seek to do His will in everything. God has a plan for each of us. Let us recall Jesus' message prior to the ascension into heaven that He instructed all of us to do. Make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, teaching them all He has commanded us. Let each of us discover what we can do to accomplish Jesus' instructions by reading His Word, having faith, listening to Him and others He places in our lives. Following Jesus' instructions is part of God's will for each of us. Experience it and participate willingly. God's blessings on your day. Much love to each of you. Good morning, Claude, aka Tommy. Good morning, Miss Jackie. And it says we have four. I was just going to say, it says we have four. So my fourth was going to be a guess of Kelly, because I can always count on Kelly and Scott to be here. They have been here since the very beginning. Good morning, Miss Kelly. How are you doing this fine morning? So there is your message for today. Is Miss Marie here? Miss Marie, she's my teetotaler. I have not seen her come into the room yet, and we are getting ready. Rusty's he looks like he's taking a break. His neighborhood watch duty must allow him breaks. The Book of Amazing Stories. Let's see what we got in store for us today. The name of this story is Never Enough. Huh. Who else feels like never enough? Quince could never do enough. Though his parents lavished him with love, they also expected big things from their firstborn son. I'm a firstborn son. I think there was big things expected from me. But I don't feel like I was lavish with love. But that's a whole nother story. Maybe that's what fueled his insatiable desire to learn more, be more, and do more. This obsession would consume Quince's life, leaving him perpetually frustrated and unhappy. By the time he entered Harvard as a teenager, he had mastered 7 languages and translated Homer, Virgil, Plutarch, don't know who that is, and Aristotle, I have heard of that name, into English. He graduated with honors and quickly passed the bar exam. When a romance threatened his ambitions, he broke off the relationship and drove himself to build one of the most prestigious resumes in history. He went to work for the government of his new nation, drafting several critical treaties and writing much of President Washington's farewell address. So this kind of tells you um, he goes back a ways. He became America's voice to the world, and when he served as U.S. ambassador to several major European nations. If that wasn't enough, Quince was elected to Congress and the Senate before turning down a presidential appointment to the Supreme Court. This overachiever was also a member of the prestigious Academy of Sciences, a Harvard professor, and a U.S. Secretary of State. In spite of his dizziness success, his family pushed him to aim even higher. In 1824, the man known to his friends as Quince became the sixth president of the United States. You remember him as John Quincy Adams. Kind of thought that's maybe who we're talking about. He was a man of uncommon courage who refused to compromise his abolitionist principles when America was careening towards a civil war. That courage cost him re-election. Yet Adams was not finished. He became the only ex-president to serve again as a congressman. Did not know that. As a tireless crusader against slavery, he argued the landmark case of the Amistad slave ship before the U.S. Supreme Court. His brilliant defense of human rights began the dismantling of the African slave trade. At age 80, he was still fighting for the emancipation of slaves when he suffered two strokes on the floor of the house. He died within hours. Seldom has a life achieved so much good for so many, yet it was never enough. Look at the faded, oh, I don't even know that word. Daguerreotype of Adams. I may have said that wrong. I have never seen that word in my life. It's spelled Daguerreotype. Has anyone seen that word before? Daguerreotype? Oh boy. Of Adams, the first US president to sit for a photograph. Study his many portraits. You will see a frowning and unhappy face. If you search the 17,000 pages of his personal diary, you will find precious few glimmers of personal satisfaction. One entry is especially haunting. My life has been spent in vain and idle aspirations. To his dying day, this prestigious overachiever felt that he had accomplished little or nothing of value. John Quincy Adams' story begs a question. When is enough enough? It is one thing to be too easily contented with mediocrity. It is quite another to find little joy or contentment in a job well done. Overachievers everywhere need to stop occasionally and savor the little victories along the way. Maybe we should heed the epitaph on the tomb of that overachiever, Alexander the Great. A tomb now suffices him for whom the world was not enough. True godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave it. First Timothy 6, verses 6 and 7. And then tomorrow's story is the Magnificent Seven. Have you heard that phrase before, the Magnificent Seven? Well, you know what? What's really cool about it is the Magnificent Seven is on April 7th. Tomorrow's April 7th. And that's also 4-7, which is 11. And now I'm trying to remember because there was that combination. Well, I know that my favorite number is 7. Becky's favorite number is 4. But there was something else that recently came up. Now I'm trying to remember what it was, in which the 4-7 came up again. But that'll be tomorrow. Magnificent 7 on 4-7. Also, tomorrow is Friday. We can't forget about this, which means tomorrow is the 40 Days to Lasting Change and AHA Challenge by Kyle Eidemann. Let's see what we're going to read about tomorrow. Is it going to be chapter 11? No, we've already gone by that. But tomorrow, April 7th, we are going to be on day 14. Day 14. That is 2 sevens. April 7th, 2 sevens, 14. And the name of the chapter is Willing to Listen. And as you know, listen is one of our points in Shalom. Willing to listen. The way of fools seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. That's Proverbs 12:15. Willing to listen. That will be tomorrow as well. But of course, we're into today, which means we need to get into the Word. We continue on in Old Testament reading. We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verse 1. These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites while they were in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant he made with them at Mount Sinai. Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, "You have seen with your own eyes everything the Lord did in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to his whole country. All the great tests of strength, the miraculous signs, and the amazing wonders. But to this day, the Lord has not given you minds. I led you through the wilderness, yet your clothes and sandals did not wear out. You ate no bread, drank no wine or other alcoholic drink, but he provided for you so you would know that he is the Lord your God. When we came here, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took their land and we gave it to the tribes of Reuben and Gad and to the half tribe of Manasseh as their grant of land. Therefore, obey, there's the O word again, the terms of this covenant so that you will prosper in everything you do. All of you, tribal leaders, elders, officers, all men of Israel, are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God. Your little ones and your wives are with you, as well as the foreigners living among you who chop your wood and carry your water. You are standing here today to enter into the covenant of the Lord your God. The Lord is making this covenant, including the curses. By entering into this covenant today, he will establish you as his people and confirm that he is your God, just as he promised you and as he swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And are you thinking about what I'm thinking about? He is basically getting these people to enter into the promised land. And do you know what that means? As Moses is helping those to enter the promised land, he is getting to the end of his assignment. He is carrying out his assignment, and as he's getting them ready, he is winding down because he knows, because the Lord has told him that he will not go into the promised land. But what he must do to remain obedient is get those ready that are going in. You're not going in, Moses, but you're being called to get those other people ready. And that will then be the end of his assignment. But you are not the only ones with whom I am making this covenant with its curses. I am making this covenant both with you who stand here today in the presence of the Lord our God, and also with the future generations who are not standing here today. I guess you could say we could be included in the future generations. You remember how we lived in the land of Egypt and how we traveled through the lands of enemy nations as we left. You have seen their detestable practices and their idols made of wood, stone, silver, and gold. I am making this covenant with you so that no one among you, no man, woman, clan, or tribe, will turn away from the Lord our God to worship these gods of other nations, and so that no root among you bears bitter and poisonous fruit. Those who hear the warnings of this curse should not congratulate themselves, thinking, I am safe even though I am following the desires of my own stubborn heart. This would lead to utter ruin. The Lord will never pardon such people. Instead, his anger and jealousy will burn against them. All the curses written in this book will come down on them, and the Lord will erase their names from under heaven. The Lord will separate them from all the tribes of Israel to pour out on them all the curses of the covenant recorded in this book of instruction. Then the generations to come, both your own descendants and the foreigners who come from distant lands, will see the devastation of the land and the diseases of the Lord inflicts on it. They will exclaim, the whole land is devastated by sulfur and salt. It is a wasteland with nothing planted and nothing growing, not even a blade of grass. It is like the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zebolim, which the Lord destroyed in his intense anger. And all the surrounding nations will ask, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why was he so angry? And the answer will be, this happened because the people of the land abandoned the covenant that the Lord, the God of their ancestors, made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. Instead, they turned away to serve and worship gods they had not known before, gods that were not from the Lord. That is why the Lord's anger has burned against this land, bringing down on it every curse recorded in this book. In great anger and fury, the Lord uprooted his people from their land and banished them to another land where they still live today. The Lord our God has secrets known to no one. We are not accountable for them, but we and our children are accountable forever for all that he has revealed to us, so that we may obey all the terms of these instructions. In the future, when you experience all these blessings and curses I have listed for you, and when you are living among the nations to which the Lord your God has exiled you, take to heart all these instructions. If at that time you and your children return to the Lord your God, and if you obey with all your heart and all your soul all the commands I have given you today, then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes. He will have mercy on you and gather you back from all the nations where he has scattered you. Even though you were banished to the ends of the earth, the Lord your God will gather you from there and bring you back again. The Lord your God will return you to the land that belonged to your ancestors, and you will possess that land again. Then he will make you even more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. The Lord your God will change your heart and the hearts of all your descendants, so that you will love him with all your heart and soul, and so you may live. The Lord your God will inflict all these curses on your enemies and all those who hate and persecute you. Then you will again obey the Lord and keep all his commands that I'm giving you today. The Lord your God will then make you successful in everything you do. He will give you many children and numerous livestock, and he will cause your fields to produce abundant harvests. For the Lord will again delight in being good to you as he was to your ancestors. The Lord your God will delight in you if you obey his voice and keep the commands and decrees written into the book of instruction, in this book of instruction. And if you turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. This command I'm giving you today is not too difficult for you, and it's not beyond your reach. It is not kept in heaven, so distant that you must ask, who will go up to heaven and bring it down so we can hear and obey? It is not kept beyond the sea, so far away that you must ask, who will cross the sea to bring it to us so that we can hear it and obey? No, the message is very close at hand. It is on your lips and in your heart so that you can obey it. Now listen. There's listen. Listen, obey. Listen, obey. We hear a lot of obey, 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 obey. Now we got to listen. Now listen. Today I am giving you a choice between life and death, between prosperity and disaster. For I command you this day to love the Lord your God and to keep his commands, decrees, and regulations by walking in his ways. If you do this, you will live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you and the land you're about to enter and occupy. But if your heart turns away and you refuse to listen, and if you are drawn away to serve and worship other gods, then I warn you now that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live a long, good life in the land you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. You can make this choice by loving the Lord your God, obeying him, and committing yourself firmly to him. This is the key to your life. And if you love and obey the Lord, you will live long in the land the Lord swore to give to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is the end of our Old Testament reading for today. We now move on into New Testament. We continue on in the book of Luke, Luke chapter 11, verse 37. As Jesus was speaking, one of the Pharisees invited him home for a meal. So he went in and took his place at the table. His host was amazed to see that he sat down to eat without first performing the hand washing ceremony required by Jewish custom. Then the Lord said to him, "You Pharisees are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and wickedness. Fools, didn't God make the inside as well as the outside? So clean the inside by giving gifts to the poor, and you will be clean all over. What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees, for you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore justice and the love of God. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees, for you love to sit in the seats of honor in the synagogues and receive respectful greetings as you walk in the marketplaces. Yes, what sorrow awaits you, for you are like hidden graves in a field. People walk all over them without knowing the corruption they are stepping on. Teacher, said an expert in religious law, you have insulted us too in what you just said. Yes, said Jesus, what sorrow also awaits you, experts in religious law. For you crush people with unbearable religious demands, and you never lift a finger to ease the burden. What sorrow awaits you? For you build monuments for the prophets your own ancestors killed long ago. But in fact, you stand as witnesses who agree with what your ancestors did. They killed the prophets, and you join in their crime by building the monuments. This is what God, in his wisdom, said about you. I will send prophets and apostles to them, but they will kill some and persecute the others. As a result, this generation will be held responsible for the murder of all God's prophets from the creation of the world. From the murder of Abel to the murder of Zechariah, who was killed between the altar and the sanctuary. Yes, it will certainly be charged against this generation. What sorrow awaits you, experts in religious law, for you remove the key to knowledge from the people. You don't enter the kingdom yourselves, and you prevent others from entering. As Jesus was leaving, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees became hostile and tried to provoke him with many questions. They wanted to trap him into saying something they could use against him. So their hearts not in a good place. Meanwhile, the crowds grew until thousands were milling about and stepping on each other. Jesus turned first to his disciples and warned them, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees, their hypocrisy. The time is coming when everything that is covered up will be revealed, and all that is secret will be known to all. Whatever you might have said in the dark will be heard in the light. And what you have whispered behind closed doors will be shouted from the housetops for all to hear. Dear friends, don't be afraid of those who want to kill your body. They cannot do any more to you after that. But I'll tell you whom to fear. Fear God, who has the power to kill you and then throw you into hell. Yes, he's the one to fear. What is the price of 5 sparrows? 2 copper coins. Yet God does not forget a single one of them. And the very hairs on your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows. Psalm 78, verses 1 through 31. O my people, listen to my instructions. Open your ears to what I am saying. For I will speak to you in a parable. I will teach you hidden lessons from our past. Stories we have heard and known. Stories our ancestors handed down to us. Ooh, Rusty's affecting me. And now I got to try to get through a whole day. No nap time today. We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about his power and mighty wonders. For he issued his laws to Jacob. He gave his instructions to Israel. He commanded our ancestors to teach them to their children so the next generation might know them, even the children not yet born. And they in turn will teach their own children. So each generation should set its hope anew on God, not forgetting his glorious miracles and obeying, there's the O word again, his commands. Then they will not be like their ancestors, stubborn, rebellious, and unfaithful, refusing to give their hearts to God. The warriors of Ephraim, though armed with bows, turned their backs and fled on the day of battle. They did not keep God's covenant and refused to live by his instructions. They forgot what he had done, the great wonders he had shown them, the miracles he did for their ancestors on the plain of Zon in the land of Egypt. For he divided the sea and led them through, making the water stand up like walls. In the daytime, he led them by cloud, and at night by a pillar of fire. He split open the rocks in the wilderness to give them water as from a gushing spring. He made streams pour from the rock, making the waters flow down like a river. Yet they kept on sinning against him, rebelling against the Most High in the desert. They stubbornly tested God in their hearts, demanding the foods they craved. They even spoke against God himself, saying, God can't give us food in the wilderness. Yes, he can strike a rock so water gushes out, but he can't give his people bread and meat. When the Lord heard them, he was furious. The fire of his wrath burned against Jacob. Yet his anger rose. Yes, it says yes, not yet. Yes, his anger rose against Israel, for they did not believe God. I trust him to care for them. But he commanded the skies to open, He opened the doors of heaven. He rained down manna for them to eat. He gave them bread from heaven. They ate the food of angels. God gave them all they could hold. He released the east wind in the heavens and guided the south wind by his mighty power. He rained down meat as thick as dust, birds as plentiful as the sand on the seashore. He caused the birds to fall within their camp and all around their tents. The people ate their fill. He gave them what they craved. But before they satisfied their craving, while the meat was yet in their mouths, the anger of God rose against them, and he killed their strongest men. He struck down the finest of Israel's young men. Have some tea, brother. I don't drink tea. I don't drink tea. I don't drink coffee. Pretty much what I live on is water. It's going to be a long day. All I got to say is I hope I get some sleep tonight. I can't say I didn't get any sleep. I did get to sleep at least until 4 o'clock. Proverbs 12, verses 19 and 20. Truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. Deceit fills the hearts that are plotting evil. Joy fills the hearts that are planning peace. And just like that, we are at the end of today's reading. And I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today a little bit early today because I got to skedaddle. I got to get set up by Jordan Creek. Here's your prayer for this Thursday, April 6th, 2023. Pastor Kazan lives in a fundamentalist Muslim village on Sri Lanka's coast. As the church he planted has grown to about 100 people, he's received many death threats and was once confronted by a man waving a gun. Jesus' words about not fearing those who can kill the body ring true for Pastor Kazan. He lives each day knowing he may die for his faith. Lord, how real your warnings about danger are to my persecuted brothers and sisters. Please protect them and give them and me a faith that does not fear death, but looks to eternity with you. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. That is perhaps the greatest hope we have with becoming children of God, accepting the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. We don't have to fear death any longer. Yes, to the world, one day we will die. This body will discontinue. This body will go into the ground unless you choose to be cremated, in which then maybe you'll end up in the water or something. But otherwise, we will return to the ground. And what we understand is those of us who have accepted the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross and have become a full-fledged child of God, that we don't need to fear death any longer. Yes, it will mean leaving here and leaving those behind. But as we leave some behind, we can look forward to reuniting with others who have died in faith prior to us. And when we get home, we will be able to reunite with them, and we will never have to say goodbye again because it will be eternity. It will be eternal. It will be wonderful. It will be paradise. There won't be any fears and death and chaos and corruption and evil and darkness. It'll be all about light. It'll be all about love. And everything that we've gone through will all be a distant memory. Eh, as long as it seems like we've lived our lives here, and as we get older, we realize, man, we've been here for a long time. Let's never forget about the fact that as long as we have lived here, eternity is a whole lot longer. So in these days, what I don't know when we're going to go, but what I can say with great certainty is that every day that passes by, we get closer to going home. So we must do what we're called to do with the time we have remaining and look forward to what is up ahead next. Don't lose sight of the promises he has made, the greatness he has awaiting for us. This is all just temporary. We take none of it with us. We truly don't. No matter how much or how little we have, one day when we are called home, this will all be left behind. And we will be in the presence of God. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful day. And God willing, we will be back with you again come tomorrow morning. Until then.